Of the Riff Rundown with my friends at Fishman. Today's episode is pre-recorded because I am in the studio today recording my EP. Today, right now, I am at Sunset Sound in Hollywood, California, recording my debut EP. All of you who pledged to my Kickstarter, thank you so much. We're hard at work at the studio today. So for today's lesson, have your acoustic guitar in standard tuning here. I have gotten a ton of requests for this ones too, particularly on the live stream comments where you guys are messaging songs you'd like to hear. This is one that I've seen quite a few times, so I figured I'd teach it to you guys today. So we're gonna learn What's Up by Four Non-Blondes, awesome song written in 1993. Super fun one, 3 chords, folks. That's it. Fun guitar solo as well that we will also be learning on the acoustic today. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of good stuff. I'll also give you an option to play it with a capo if the bar chords are a little bit tough for you. So we'll do that today too. All right, so before we get started, you guys know I like to ask a question. Let me know where you're tuning in from and the first song you learned on guitar. So where you're tuning in from and the first song you learned on guitar. All right, here we go. Here's What's Up. Chords. It's a lot of fun. We have some variations with some of the suspended chords that we include with the major and the minor chords that are here today. And also we'll go ahead and look at the intro guitar solo as well as the little solos that happen within the verses as well. And have a capo handy because we're going to need that today too. I'm going to give you guys options because anytime I can, I will. So let's go ahead and look at the chords here. So these chords, we see them in the intro, we see them in the verse, and we see them in the chorus. So this progression does not change at all throughout the, I think, 4.5-minute song. It's absolutely fabulous. It's a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and get started here. The song is going to be in the key of A. All right, so we're going to have an A chord, we're going to have a B minor, and we're going to have a D major. And then we go back to A. That's the entire song. It's a lot of fun. So here's how I like to play the A chord here with this tune. Go ahead, we're going to be using our 2nd, 3rd, and 4th finger to play this chord. Get your 2nd finger, placing that on the 2nd fret of that D string. That note is E. All right, your 3rd finger placing that on the 2nd fret of the G string. That note is A. And your 4th finger placing that on the 2nd fret of the B string. That is our C sharp. So again, with our A major, the formula to create a major chord 1, 3, 5, in this case with the key of A, C sharp, and E, we see all 3 of these notes here with this chord. All right, so there's that chord. All right, now what we're gonna do here is after this chord, we're gonna go ahead and play an A sus2. All we're gonna do to play this chord here, you're gonna lift your 4th finger up to play the open B string. All right, so the chord is going to sound like this. And we're strumming this from the A string downward, okay? All right, the next chord is going to be a B minor. So this is going to be a bar chord, all right? We're playing this in the way that Linda Perry did it, all right? So we're going to go ahead and put our 1st finger across the 2nd fret of the A, D, G, B, and the high E string. All right, so we're going to do that there. Remember with our bar chords here, we want to push through with that thumb at the back of the neck. I don't want to see any thumbs up here. It's really going to allow the hand to kind of shrivel. We want to have a nice strong hand. We want to be able to grip the chord in a good, strong way with strong fingers. All right, so that's what the 1st finger is doing there with that help from the thumb in the back of the neck. Your 2nd finger here, placing that on the 3rd fret of that B string. That note is D. Now, in building this B minor chord, the formula here is a little bit different. So it's 1 flat 3, 5. So in this case, the 3 target notes that we are looking for this B minor are going to be B, D, the flat 3rd, and the F sharp, which is going to be our 5. All right, so we're going to find all 3 of those notes here. So right there, there's our D. That's the flat 3rd there on the 3rd fret of that B string, and then we have the B right up here at that 2nd fret of the A string. All right, Third finger reaching here, fourth fret of the D string right there. There's our F sharp, so there's our 5. We have all 3 target notes done. Fourth finger will then go on the 4th fret of that G string, and then we have another B. So we're going to strum from the A string downward here, and we'll get to that strumming pattern in just a minute, don't worry. Let's go through the chords first. Now, something that happens here, it's a really cool, colorful part. If it's a little tough for some of us to get our hands around, so it's okay. This is something that you can skip. I think it sounds really cool. We have our B minor here, but something that I heard is that towards the end of this little B minor chord, she lifts up the first finger ever so slightly to expose that high E string. So it'll sound like this. All right, that's a little tough for those of you right now. Don't worry, just stick to the B minor. So let's go ahead now looking at the D chord here. For my beginners, let's run through it a little quickly here. All right, first finger, 2nd fret of the G string, that note is A. Second finger, 2nd fret of the E string, that's our F sharp. And our third finger, 2nd fret of, or 3rd fret rather, 3rd fret of the B string. That note is D. So again, D major, 1, 3, 5. In this case, D, F sharp, A. There they are, strum from the D string downward. The next chord here is going to be a D sus2. All we're going to do here, right, we're going to lift that middle finger up, exposing yet again that high E. Beautiful sus chord, right? So we're replacing the 3rd, that F sharp, with an E. So just like that, and then we go back to A. All right, so here's what's happening here with the strumming. I'm going to play this through again. I'm going to do it to time, and then we'll walk it through a little bit slower. All right, here we go. And this repeats, all right? So the strumming pattern here, again, how I like to strum, I've mentioned this in my lessons before. I'm someone who likes to strum from the elbow, all right? I really like to allow the sustain of the guitar to really ring through here. If you're someone who strums from the wrist, totally cool, that's fine, do your thing, all right? I'm someone who likes to have a really broad stroke here. I'm sure you can see that with my guitar. See where I end my strumming right there? I'm starting to get a little bit of relicking, a little bit of love, as I say on my Norms videos, a little bit of love, all right? So here's the strumming. It's the same pattern for every single chord here. So I'm going to run through this slowly. Let's just stick to the A chord, because once we get a handle on this, we'll go ahead and move it on to the other chords, all right? So here we go. I'm going to do it a little slower, all right? So here we go. Let's do that again. We're going to end on the upstroke. We're going to end on the upstroke. Let's do this again. Let's do it again. All right. So now let's include the A sus2 in this. Here we go. Now let's include the B minor. We're adding our chords in. Here we go. So that's without the high E opened. Let's do it again with the high E open. All right, here we go. again. Let's do it again. Okay, now let's incorporate the D chord with the D sus2. Here we go. Let's do it again. One more time for good luck, then we'll resolve with the A chord. All right, here we go. Let's do it again at this speed. The next pass, we're going to do it a little bit slower. So same pass at this speed, the entire progression. And remember, this covers the intro, this covers the verse, this covers the chorus. All right, here we go. A little faster this time. One more time. Hear it coming together. Do that one more time. So that's what's happening there. So that's the intro, the verse, and the chorus. Now, over this chord progression, we have a really, really cool guitar solo. This guitar solo is done on an electric guitar in the recording and some of the live versions, all right? But it's cool enough to play on the acoustic, so I figured we'd include it too. It's such a cool little riff. So here it is. It's a really great little riff, so let's go ahead and talk about it. So what we're going to do here, first finger, we're going to break this up in a few different parts here. First finger on the 5th fret of that B string, that note is E. We're going to strike this 4 times. And have a look at my right hand here. Alternate picking, top, bottom of the string. I'm not doing this. Let it flow, top, bottom of the string. Notice how it flows a lot better. Versus, we're not doing that here. We don't want it very staccato, right? We don't want that. Da, 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 da. We want it to roll very nicely. So that last note there in the last phrase is going to be an A note, 7th fret of that D string. Let's do this again. One more time. All right. Now the next part here we're going to do is we're going to stay on that A note, 7th fret of that D string. We're going to strike it twice and slide it here to the F sharp 4th fret of the D string. All right, so this is an easy enough part. Let's go ahead and combine it with part 1. Just like that. Let's do it again. All right, so now part 3 is going to sound like this. Here's how we play it, and here are the notes. We're going to get our first finger here, 2nd fret of that D string. That's going to be our E note. We're going to hammer on to the F sharp 4th fret of that D string. Now we're going to go here to the 2nd fret of that G string. That note is A. Okay, so with the 3rd finger reaching to the 4th fret of that D string, yet again, F sharp, to E, back to F sharp. Okay, so for context, here's that part isolated. And again, alternate picking here. Let's do that again, isolated. Again. All right, now let's combine it, parts 1, 2, and 3. Here we go. Let's do that one more time. Now, part 4. We're going to go F sharp, G, F sharp. Now let's combine it with part 1. Here we go. One more time. Coming together, right? So there it is. Now, the last, or the second to last part here is going to sound like this. Okay, so this part's kind of fun. I really like this. Really gets a little bluesy. So what we're going to do here, your 3rd finger, we're going to hold it down on the 7th fret of the D string and that G string, almost like we're doing like a power chord or a bar chord, right? Like this. Keep your 3rd finger flat. We're going to play 2 strings at the same time with this 3rd finger. Again, 7th fret of the D string and G string. So those notes are E, or are A and D respectively, okay? So what we're going to do here is we're going to strike 7th fret of the D string A to D, back to A, just like that. With the 1st finger here, we're going to tug a little bit. Okay, I'll show you what I mean in a second. 1st finger, placing that on the 5th fret of the G string, that's our C note, and 5th fret of the B string, that's E. Change the pitch ever so slightly, a little bit of a micro bend. And if you need to pull the guitar back, have the thumb hang over as a good little overhang there. And then resolve back to that A. So in context, here's what it sounds. Let's do that again. Again, a little bit easier on the electric for my beginners and intermediates, but again, it's good practice to do this kind of stuff on acoustic too, I think. All right, so that's what's happening there. Let's go ahead and combine this with the rest of the solo, and then we'll finish it off with that little end bit of the solo. It's pretty fun, it's pretty easy. All right, so here we go. One more time. Now the last part of the solo goes like this, lots of open strings. So how we do that, open D string, D note, hammer onto that E note, 2nd fret of the D string. We're going to do that twice. 2nd fret of the G string is our A note, just like that. And then that's where the verse comes in. All right, so let's do the whole solo. Okay, pretty cool, right? Super fun, really easy, friendly little pentatonic solo happening there. So again, this is all over that progression of the A, B minor, and D, all right? So what we're gonna do here is we're also gonna look at the little riffs that are happening within the verses too. So within the verses, we're gonna start from the It's a really cool little thing. Just the ending is different. So that first part, right? Sometimes we include it, sometimes we don't. Listen back to the song and see how they intertwine this really, really cool riff into the verses. So, solo is pretty much the same in the verses, except this tiny little tail bit at the end. So, the tail bit at the end is going to go like this. We're going to hammer on from that E note, 2nd fret of that D string, hammer onto the F sharp, going to A, 2nd fret of the G string, going back to the F sharp, 4th fret D, and resolving on the A note. So without the commentary, now included with the rest of the solo. It's pretty neat. And sometimes they'll go ahead and add have a listen to the song and see again. It's a really fun little pentatonic riff they included there. Adds a lot of color and a lot of lift to the verses, which is really cool. So that's what's happening there with that section of the song for the most part. It's pretty cool stuff. Very, very easy tune, really fun. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's go back to the strumming at the intro, okay? And then let's go ahead and play the solo right after that. Let's go ahead and do a verse for a little bit. All right, so here we go. Let's repeat this. Now our solo. Okay, now let's do a solo that we can find in the verse. Here we go. Fun stuff, right? Pretty cool too. Pretty cool tune. So let's go ahead and do this. So for my beginners, if that B minor chord, right, it's like, that's a little too much for me right now. Totally cool. This is the part of the show where I want you to grab your capo, all right? So your capo, we're going to place it on the 2nd fret. Here's the thing. The chords are going to be a little bit more friendly for those of you who aren't so fond of the bar chords, all right? And it's just a fun way to play it. Say you're playing with another guitar player and they're covering the open chords that we just did, and you want to play it differently, grab a capo, 2nd fret. So the chords here, all right, it's going to be G instead of A major, and it's a G shape. Now keep in mind we're playing all of the same notes as this A major chord. See how it sounds the same? Because we're still playing A, C sharp, and E, we're just playing them in a different spot, all right? So we've got our G major here. This is the version that I like to play, all right? I'm putting my 1st finger on the 2nd fret in accordance to the capo, 2nd fret of that A string. So that right there in reality is a C sharp, okay? My 2nd finger here is on the 3rd fret and relative to the capo, actually playing an A note, all right? And my 3rd finger is on the 3rd fret in accordance to the capo B string. I'm actually playing an E note there. And then the 4th finger is playing an A, which is all the way up at the 5th fret, but 3rd fret in accordance to the capo high E string. So the progression is going to sound like this with the capo. Notice how the strumming pattern is the same. So the chords there, it's going to be G, a G shape, an A minor shape, okay? 1st finger on the 1st fret, and again, all accordance to the capo here. 1st fret of that B string, 2nd finger reaching to the 2nd fret of the D string, 3rd finger, 2nd fret of the G string, strum from the A string downwards. We're going to switch to a C. Keep your 1st and 2nd finger where they are reaching, 3rd finger, 3rd fret, A string, strum from the A string downward, and another G chord. So let's go ahead and play this same exact strumming pattern, people. Here we go. Let's do that again, a little slower. Again, we'll keep the slow pace. Folks, you're ready to play this song. This is such a fun one. Again, I have gotten so many requests to teach this song, particularly when I'm doing a live stream, and folks are like, "Hey, when are you going to teach What's Up by Four Non Blondes?" So here you go. I read your comments. I'm happy to teach it to you guys today. Again, as always, wishing you guys so much success in your musical journey. You are never too young or too old to learn how to play if it brings you joy. That's what's the most important. And I encourage you all to play with other people too. You get better at playing music and really just, again, it's a community activity. So I highly encourage you guys, find a friend, play some music for sure. Also, if you're loving these lessons, be sure to subscribe to the channel Angela Petrilli Music on YouTube. If you want to check out all the cool stuff that Fishman has going on, including the RS Spectrum DI that I'm using on this lesson, the Loudbox Performer amp, as well as the Matrix Infinity pickups that I love to use in my acoustic. You can check that out in the video link in the description. So it is good stuff, folks. This is such a fun one. Again, 3 chords, and like, what a killer song, and how much cool stuff you can do. We went over a capo version, we went over the regular version, and the guitar solo. Again, folks, wishing you so much success in your musical journey. I will see you guys